सरस्वती महाभागे विद्ये कमल लोचने विद्यारूपे विशालाक्षी विद्याम देहि नमोस्तुते। हे महाभाग्यवती, ज्ञान रूपा कमल के समान विशाल नेत्र वाली ज्ञानदात्री सरस्वती, मुझको विद्या दो। मैं आपको प्रणाम करता हूँ। वेरी मेनी ग्रीटिंग्स ऑफ द ऑस्पिशियस ओकेजन of Vasant Panchami, when we are all congregated out here uh, to at the Transformational Teachers Tryst 2025. And this reminds us of the very fabled speech on the eve of Indian independence. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly uh, or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. And with this very spirit, I think the national education policy, which was launched on 29th of July 2020, when it was released out here, it was with that same aspiration to project India as yet another Vishwa Guru, to reclaim India's prominence as a knowledge capital, as a knowledge economy. And perhaps that instigated us. And 29th July somewhat happens to be also the Punya Tithi of the legend of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar ji, the great philosopher, reformer, and educator. So Rethink India felt like dedicating or taking up this entire narrative of NEP 2020, and not just on the name per se, but double clicking and triple clicking the entire narrative of NEP uh, to really take it to the last mile, which matters. We at Rethink India believe that any national education policy, if it has to really convert and translate into action, it has to first get at the level of an institution. It has to become a kind of an institutional education policy. And more importantly, even at the institutional level, whatever contours of the policy are made out, it has to eventually land up uh, at the hands of the individual educator. And that's where we threw a challenge to the entire educational community, especially at the K-12 level. And we went out in the search of transformational teachers who have tethered and transcended the 22 principles of the new education policy 2020 into their individual teaching paradigm. And that was a very, very challenging ask, as we are now realizing all through this journey. And very many times, like, we were just puzzled that there is a purpose behind any number per se. There used to be a 21-point program, but what does the number 22 stands for? So in numerology, they say that it's the number for balance, for harmony, and for personal growth. And somewhere it fits very, very well with the spirit of Devi Saraswati, who is the custodian of knowledge, custodian of our Vidya, the goddess of knowledge we all know about. That how these 22 principles per se, because NEP comprises of a host of narratives ranging from administrative aspects, the structure of things, but what we call as the core, as the kernel of it all, अखरोट का जैसे जो अंदर का बीज होता है, which we all consume. Apart from that, so these are the 22 principles, the preamble of it all. It contains it all, and we will spend a bit of a time at this transformational teachers tryst to just touch upon these 22 principles quickly. And then we have a galaxy of transformational teachers who have really gone to the last mile to involve almost each one of them or some of them in their individual teaching paradigm, as we have asked them for. And we would be reading out, presenting their elaborate submissions, the lovely I would say, recommendation notes which we have received from their honorable principals and directors. So the first and the foremost is कि स्वधर्म और स्वभाव का जो चिन्हीकरण है कि how to recognize, identify and foster the unique capabilities of each student by sensitizing teachers as well as parents to promote each student's holistic development in both academic and non-academic spheres. So until or unless this very principle is taken up by the transformational teachers in their own right, no kind of technological deployment or anything or everything. I think Dr. Surbi, I would like to bring her also in this first part of the presentation, that how individual faculty members, individual teachers, they have this agency to actually identify, recognize, and foster the unique capabilities of each student. So, whenever any purport is given on the blackboard or any discussion is happening, it's only the teacher, it's the human intelligence, it's the human mind which has absorbed it all and which can really entail it out and personalize the entire learning experience out there. So this is where the human intelligence part of a transformational teachers come into play, despite all kind of profiling, all kind of technological things we can think of.
So,
So
pranams to all on the auspicious occasion of Vasant Panchami, and we are here to felicitate the transformational teachers. And talking of the NEP Principal One, I would here like to come in and say that a teacher, a shikshak, is like it's like a mother of learning. In the Guru Shishya Parampara, like in the medical parlance, I would just like to draw an analogy from the medical world. When we treat a patient, the patient is, given some treatment, some medicines, some strategy, some dietary regime, and after that, it becomes a good treatment paradigm to check whether the patient has actually responded to the treatment, which we call as patient compliance. And this is where I think NEP Principle 1 comes in very beautifully, bringing this aspect into education, wherein we talk of student education compliance. So the teacher at the school level, at the educational institution, is very, very, I should say, armed and very, really empowered to understand the unique capabilities of each student. So, what we are teaching should not be just a monologue, but how much of it is actually going inside the gray matter, and what are they assimilating, how much are they assimilating, and what are they actually reproducing out of it, recreating out of it. That is the true essence of education.
listening from Disha ma'am, Karuna ma'am, and others also, that as to how they are actually deploying it. They have presented it across elaborately in their nomination notes, but we would really like to use this occasion to listen it from them firsthand. The second and most important principle, which is more at a systemic level, which is according the highest priority to achieving the foundational literacy and numeracy by all students by grade 3. And again here some of our nominees who had come through that at even at advanced classes, even at the mathematics forum what we hosted just on Ramanujan's birthday, the National Mathematics Day, teachers are becoming transformational teachers, are becoming empathetic, that they will not say, oh, this you could have should have learned at particular age, but if you are lacking in it, they really go the extra mile in bridging that gap so that the learning curve goes further and forward. The third principle of NEP 2020, onto which transformational teachers have to really do a lot of labor, and that's where the interactability, that's where the complexity boomerangs like anything, is the flexibility part of it. It was very easy earlier to have a linearized model, but then learners have the ability to choose their learning trajectories and programs and thereby choose their own paths in life according to their talents and interests. Now, again, principle 3 has a lot of mapping with principle 1, and it is the handholding of the transformational teachers which makes all the magic. Because when a mentor, the mentor in a teacher, comes into play, he or she then guides the students, because choosing is something, I think a lot of experiences we will be just having from our eminent awardees this evening of Vasant Panchami. And no hard separations. Again, this is a structural aspect which NEP has talked about, between arts and sciences, curricular and extracurricular, between vocational and academic streams. And Disha ma'am's submission was so very lovely that we could see how visual arts was being applied as a part of, I think, almost all the classes for that. It was becoming a kind of a ubiquitous subject, like languages are baseline. Similarly, visual arts have a baseline component of it. If you are very good in visual arts, you can be really drawing lot of good biological diagrams perhaps uh, over there, and removing the harmful hierarchies and silos between different areas of learning. And this principle somewhere calls for interdisciplinary interaction between the teachers of various disciplines together. And in our various course of other interactions, schools are really coming up with that kind of innovations, whereby, say, language faculties are coming together, say a German or a English and in Hindi faculty are coming together, and taking language as a faculty per se. Or so similarly in the history class, perhaps political science or civics classes coming, and the history of science is being taught about it. So that's the whole spirit of the Principle 4. Principle 5 is multidisciplinarity and holistic education across sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports, for a multidisciplinary word in order to ensure unity and integrity of all knowledge. And when we have been deliberating upon, even the Honorable, I would say, chairperson of the UGC, Vishwavidyalaya Anudan Ayog, and other top bodies in the interface with them, they have been very categorical to say that, okay, yes, we wise men have just Greeting India had the great good fortune of felicitating the chairperson of the NEP, Professor Kasturi Rangan, and also the chairperson of the drafting committee, Professor Parag Bhargav, who is an exponent of music and mathematics himself. So they all say that at the end of the day, it all lies on the shoulders of the individual teachers, and that agency of the educator, it really needs to be restored. So whatever the education system we might be talking about, whatever the institutional brand, institutional processes, and technological baselines we can talk about it, nothing, almost nothing can really transcend a transformational teacher for that matter. So it all gets imbibed over there. And since it's the transformational teachers Tryst, we felt like repeating or revising for the sake of it all, because Puras Charan is the key core of it all. So whatever the NEP elaborate document of 66 or the 576 odd pages which came up initially, these 22 principles are the core of it all. And then conceptual understanding beyond rote learning and learning for exams. Again, it lies entirely on the educators. Creativity and critical thinking, and they go hand in hand. And we were so much in love. We will just show you Disha Kakkar ma'am's nomination. So very passionate that she's really. It perhaps took her almost 100 odd hours to just compile it across the 22 principles over there. So creativity and critical thinking, both the left and the right brain, NEP people have brought it, and I think many of our teachers have really taken to it in the right spirit, and to encourage logical decision making and innovation, ethics and human and constitutional values. And in today's time, when empathy is lacking, when respect for others is going down, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit, spirit of service, respect for public property, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, equality, uh, justice. So these are the values which make us humans. We have I would say, a heart-rending tragedy and the kind of public narrative which is happening in the public space. The word is shocked. What actually is happening? The empathy is lacking somewhere. So I think these values eventually they can't be taught. when they are in the teachers themselves, when हमारे भारत में कहते हैं कि आचार्य जो आचरण की दक्षता से अपने छात्रों में जो दिखाए, आई थिंक that only the kids really take it up. And that's why the role of teachers, in fact, across platforms, wherever you think India has been deliberating upon, the future of India perhaps would be built up in its classrooms. Not in the parliament. We see the parliamentary discourse, we see it all across. And the responsibility is just on the shikshaks. That's the real hope is out there. So promoting multilingualism and the power of language in teaching and learning, so very important. Even after the theory of multiple intelligences, so all the eight intelligences, they are largely acquired. Like a lot of intellectual stuff needs the language part of it all, and a lot of effort is happening. And we would be commemorating the 21st February UN Mother Language Day. That's where it all starts from. Life skills, communication, cooperation, teamwork, resilience, focus on regular formative assessment for learning, or the 3 घंटे का जो एक एग्जाम का स्ट्रेस है, all the students, you all would be so very privy to it that examination stress elimination helplines are all across, as if every day it's an exam, every day it's an assessment. I think that's where a lot of transformational teachers touch comes into place. There is nothing to worry about it if you have really prepared for it well. And extensive use of technology, we have seen it beautifully. All our transformational teachers, they really are using technology, not making technology driving education, but education taking the help of technology to boost the speed and scale of learning in the classrooms. There's a lot many debate, lot of concern which is coming up because of the emerging era of AI, but then human intelligence has to ride over the technological AI. And how the connected issues of plagiarism and so forth, how our teachers are really, so it again comes to that individual agency, how you take it across beautifully. And respect for diversity, respect for the local context. And that's where I think many of our nominees today, they really went and localized the global problem so that students can really make a sense of it. Local context comes even from the family, uh, and it comes from the principle one itself, that we have to understand each and every children's learning context. So what their parents are up to, what are their personal life issues, what are their learning types, so and so forth. So this local context can be weaved so very beautifully out there in curriculum, pedagogy, and policy. And equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions. So it again comes from that generally how the one of our we recently hosted the World Education Forum for 5 days on the same days as the World Economic Forum goes on in Davos. And one of the speakers was very lovely that 30 of our students, one eminent principal from down south, she said, each and every student is a client like that. We have to really focus upon that one or the other child and take to his very personal requirement. And that's where technology helps, uh, and pedagogy is defined in that fashion. Synergy in curriculum across all levels of education, from early childhood care and education to school to higher. So the whole continuum, I think that was a subject matter which was taken up by Madam Vinitha Anil from Primus Public School. She said from early childhood education to the primary to the secondary, the whole continuum has to be treaded. Like teachers at the initial stages, they have to look at the advanced stages, and teachers at the advanced stages have really look back as to how this kid is coming from, and that forward and backward handshakes, they really help greatly. Just to Yeah, so teachers and faculty as the heart. Now this is the heart of even the transformational teachers. We picked up, like, there are a lot of frameworks, lot of ways to evaluate teacher progress. We felt that these 22 principles are somewhat very critical, and if they are really championed by our teachers, at the principal level itself. They have all the agency to extrapolate and expand it across all through. And continuous professional development, positive working environments and service conditions. So relationship of a learner with his or her teacher is lifelong, and that's what makes it transformational teachers. Light but tight regulatory framework. Now regulation not just from the CBSE, ICSE or IB board, but regulatory framework is at the end of the day taken on the shoulders by the teacher himself or herself. For example, at our institutions we come from, say IIT or AIMS, Dr. Surbhi, the agency of the professor is profound. Nobody, nobody, even at the level of the Supreme Court of India, can challenge the authority of that professor who has taken that examination. So that is the kind of responsibility which is bestowed upon eventually the autonomy, the sovereignty, that uh, that very teacher is setting up the course material. That very teacher is teaching, and that very teacher is putting up the exam paper, evaluating and giving you the grades. So that is the kind of autonomy it exists in the Indian ecosystems, and that's where the real empowerment comes into place. So light but tight. So it's very individual teacher style, uh, which are not the board exams or something like that. How you assess. So that is so very out there. And outstanding research as a core requisite for outstanding education and development. Research is not just at the R&D labs of CSIR, DRDO, or whatever. Research is even at the level of a lower KG student, where a passionate educator, a transformational educator, is really going to the end of the earth to find out newer and newer ways. We were so very fortunate to have a galaxy of mathematics educators, and their experimentation of teaching the abstract science, mathematic concepts to their learners in a very profound manner, and so much research was involved. And many of our today's, I would say, awardees, they have really gone to this greater depth. And then continuous review of progress based on sustained research and regular assessment. So this is more at a policy level, but its translation at the individual level is how to review the progress of both the learners and also your personal teaching style. This is in the spirit of self evaluation. So NEP principles have manifestation at the policy systemic level, at the institutional level, and finally what we feel very strongly at the individual transformational teacher level. And a rootedness and pride in India, that is Bharat, and her rich, diverse, ancient, and modern culture and knowledge systems and traditions. And today, when we are hosting the Transformational Teachers Tryst on Vasant Panchami, I think this is this invocation. It is this expression of this rootedness and pride in India, where we have even made our learning as goddesses. Whatever cultures we come from, I have been just told that Madam Anita Das Gupta is attending uh, Saraswati Puja thing. So she has asked for excuse, not in talking. She can't speak from there, but let's see how it comes. We can probably request her to be on camera itself when she accepts her token tribute from the forum. And this is very, very important, that education is a public service. Like doctors, whenever they go in science, or they anywhere, they have to say that I am a doctor. So similarly, being a teacher is kind of a public service, by your own demeanor, by your own space, not just in the classrooms. A teacher exudes that spirit of teaching, spirit of that public order. We cannot function like, if your students come even today, when we go anywhere and if we find a teacher somewhere, our entire disposition gets transcended. It really changes all of a sudden. So access to quality education must be considered a basic right of every children. So the passion, and mind you that NEP has really exponentiated the workload of our teachers significantly. I don't know what kind of remunerations have been I would say, mashed up in that spirit, but this policy, these principles, what we are talking about, and then that's where they say that substantive investment in a strong, vibrant public education system, as well as the encouragement and facilitation of true philanthropic private and community participation. So, no kind of financial or monetary compensation, as we can call it, can really repay that great contribution what our teachers are really making to the society, to the future of the nation at large. So these were the 22 principles which we quickly wanted to run through, quickly wanted to rush and show it across. And now we will come to the felicitation part of it all. And first and the foremost, I would like to invite Madam Disha Kakkar, a very, very passionate visual arts teacher. And what a lovely nomination what we have received from her principal, Dr. Urmi Mala Sudhakar from Summerfield School, Gurugram. And I would request Dr. Surbi to do the honors of reading out what Dr. Sudhakar has written about Madam Disha Kakkar, because this is something which is presidential in nature. When your principal is writing so very passionately about you, I think this is the treasure trove. We are just an instrument as a platform which is just aggregating it all across, but the principal is one who watches you, who nurtures you, who really empowers you. Dr. Surbi.
So, Madam Principal writes that Miss Disha Kakkar, ma'am, has consistently exemplified creativity, passion, and dedication, making her an invaluable asset to our school community. Miss Kakkar's teaching philosophy transcends traditional boundaries, nurturing a space where students feel empowered to explore their artistic talents with freedom and confidence. She introduces students to a wide spectrum of artistic traditions and contemporary methods, all while fostering individual expression and growth. Her classes are dynamic and inspiring, providing students with the tools to not only create but to see the world through a more artistic and thoughtful lens. What sets Madam Kakkar apart is her commitment to making art accessible to all learners. She takes the time to understand each student's strengths and challenges, ensuring her guidance is tailored to individual needs. Her patient, encouraging nature has helped countless students, even those who initially doubted their artistic abilities, to discover their potential. Beyond her remarkable classroom work, Ms. Kakkar has been instrumental in organizing school wide art exhibitions and projects, showcasing the talents of her students while fostering a deeper appreciation for art among the broader school community. Miss Kakkar is a true educator in every sense of the word, someone who inspires not just artistic skills, but a love for learning, creativity, and self expression. I wholeheartedly recommend her for this award as her dedication, talent, and positive influence continue to leave a lasting impact on her students and our school community.
So, two things like it is not just a testimony in English alone, it has been substantiated by elaborate documentation, which with photographs, with the pedagogy, what Madam Kakkar has been taking it across, judging him is one of the best transformational teachers. And this is where, like, we all talk about the STEAM education, STEM with arts, but this is where arts has to be, this is how arts has to be really incorporated into the contemporary STEM, because AI bots would be doing the complex computations as it is, like from calculators to the AI bots, whatever kind of things we are. But the originality, the creativity, and critical thinking, what we talked about as a very core of NEP principle, one of the NEP principles, I think Madam Kakkar has emerged to be, I would say, a living testament of that. Dr. Surbi, we would just quickly glance through because it will take a lot of time out there, because every principle what we had asked for, that recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. So as an art teacher, I see every student as an individual artist with their own creative voice. So this very fundamental acceptance, I think, is the bedrock of it all. And my role is to closely observe each student's style, whether it is their attention to detail, love for bold colors, or preference for abstract expression. And I strive to create an environment where students feel free to explore different techniques and materials, guiding them towards discovering their strengths. I believe in providing personalized feedback to each student. For example, if a student excels in crafting but struggles with painting, I encourage them to focus on their strengths while gradually building their skills in other areas. I ensure that each student can work in a way that reflects their personal interest and capabilities. And in my classroom, I celebrate individual progress. So, a transformational teacher is one who is really even taking on that, who is recognizing this very critical role of his or hers, and making a declaration to himself and herself and to the larger world, as Madam Kakkar has done it. We can just go on, like on the flexibility part. She says, I promote flexibility by offering students the freedom to explore various materials, techniques, and themes. And instead of rigid assignments, I provide options, allowing students to choose between painting, crafting, or mixed media based on their interest and strengths. So, this approach encourages self directed learning and allows students to develop their unique artistic voice at their own pace, aligning with NEP's emphasis on flexible learning pathways. So, she has really encapsulated the very spirit of NEP, and really deployed it in her own small classroom. So they say that any transformation has to happen one classroom at a time, one transformational teacher leading the same, a set of 20, 30, 50 learners. So we can make that transformation in those very lives. I think that's how communities are transformed, and larger nations are transformed. And one very particular point, because this is the time of deep seeks, open AIs, and a host of, like, there was a space war at a time. So there is a kind of a global AI war. And our honorable minister of IT has declared that India would also create its own AI shortly. But what we at Rethink India feel that with transformational teachers well in place, there is nothing to worry about AI. AI would be assimilated as just another technological tool into the fray, but the distinction is out here. Like from rote learning to this creative and critical learning, this is where the power of India as a civilization, as a knowledge civilization, comes into play. I can go and read out, and and perhaps spend the whole session on this very lovely, I would say, submission. We had circulated it earlier as well, and this will be a part of the official webpage we'll be hosting for Madam Kakka and all others as well. So, lot of learnings from Madam Kakkas, and let's hear her out. We would really like to confer upon this token tribute of being a Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Uh, just a moment, I need to. Yes. Uh, yes. So we would really like to confer upon this token tribute of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, uh, transformational teacher, on Madam Disha Kakkar, for having tethered and transcended the 22 principles of new education policy into her individual teaching paradigm. And as testified by the Honorable Principal, Summerfield School, Gurugram, Dr. Urmi Mala Sudhakar, I would request Madam Disha Kakkar to accept and also address the transformational teachers Tryst this evening. Madam Kakkar, please.
So thank you so much. Happy Basant Panchami to all and to ma'am and other faculty members. Actually, today some function is going on in my house. My sister-in-law's son is getting married.
Mhm.
So I am in the function right now. Mehndi function is going on, but I'm very, very happy and thank you so much for honoring
The moment
me.
you can come on
on-
the camera, it won't be out of protocol.
Actually, right now I'm sitting in my car because there is a lot of noise. I just come to
Okay,
camera.
okay,
I
lovely,
just
lovely.
very sorry.
No, we just want to have a snap, okay, with you.
Acha, okay.
Yeah, no
But
worries with. Yeah, you can be with us.
Absolutely fine, ma'am. Please join. Camera on.
That's the power of the digital transaction. I would say we can connect. Yeah.
I'm in my car right now and there is no light here.
Yes, yes,
Sorry
yes.
for that.
Not at all, not at all.
Fine, ma'am.
But thanks a lot.
Yeah, Disha ma'am. We can understand that she's in a function. We had never thought of that. Vasant Panchami, Durga Puja remains a
Yeah,
lovely occasion, but Vasant Panchami also has a lot of festivities across. So, so thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing the occasion. Moving
thank you
forward,
so
we
much.
would now like to felicitate yet another enigmatic transformational teacher in Madam Monica Chaudhary, and I would not like to lose this opportunity to read out her laurels from her nomination note itself, because that's what explains and establishes, I would say, the prominence, the great work, not just of the transformational teachers, but also the honorable director, Madam Dhriti Malhotra, who went to the deeper extent of nominating and seeing these very aspects over there. And Dr. Surbi, again, I would really like to request to do the honors of reading out this very lovely recommendation note by Madam Dhriti Malhotra, nominating Madam Monica Chaudhary for this prestigious honor.
So, the Honorable Principal, Madam Dhriti Malhotra, ma'am, writes, the director at Manav Rachna International School, Gurugram, that as an experienced English language educator, Miss Monica Chaudhary, ma'am, has seamlessly woven the core tenets of the National Education Policy, NEP 2020, into her teaching methodology. Her student centric approach ensures that each learner is provided with opportunities to discover and develop their unique strengths, creating a dynamic and engaging learning environment. Monica Ma'am consistently recognizes the diverse capabilities of her students, Principal 1, and tailors her lessons to accommodate various learning styles through techniques such as project based learning, personalized feedback, and group work. She fosters an inclusive classroom environment that encourages students to tap into their strengths, be it critical thinking, creative expression, or collaboration. Her use of multiple intelligence theory further ensures that students receive the personalized support necessary for their academic and emotional growth. In line with Principle 2, Monica Ma'am lays a strong foundation for literacy and critical thinking in her English lessons. Through scaffold reading exercises and discussions, she helps students not only enhance their literacy skills but also engage in critical analysis of complex texts. This ensures that they gain a deep understanding of the material, preparing them for further academic pursuits and real world challenges. Flexibility, Principle 3, is at the heart of Monica's classroom as she provides students with the autonomy to select their preferred learning methods, whether it be writing, presentations, or multimedia projects, fostering creativity and ownership over their learning. This empowerment encourages self expression and independent thought while also creating space for personalized exploration. Monica's interdisciplinary approach, Principle 4, Madam Principal writes, bridges the gap between arts and sciences by contextualizing literary works in broader historical, political, and sociological frameworks. She provides a holistic learning experience. In her senior English classes, for instance, she connects lessons like the address and the last lesson to significant historical events, enabling students to draw connections between past and present. Similarly, she promotes multidisciplinary education, Principle 5, through projects that span history, sociology, and environmental studies, cultivating global citizenship and critical thought. Her emphasis on conceptual understanding, Principle 6, allows students to dive deeper into texts rather than simply memorizing them. Her classroom is a hub of debate, discussion, and reflective writing, pushing students to think critically about literature and its real world implications. Monica Ma'am's commitment to creativity and critical thinking, Principle 7, shines through activities like role plays, creative writing, and debates which challenge students to approach problems from different perspectives. Monica Ma'am's rights, Madam Principal, places great importance on fostering ethical values. Principle 8 in her students, seamlessly integrating discussions on empathy, respect, and social justice into her lessons. By reflecting on moral dilemmas in literature, students not only gain a deeper understanding of the text, but also grow as socially responsible individuals. Multilingualism, Principle 9, is encouraged in her classroom, where students often present in both English and their native languages. This nurtures pride in cultural identity while strengthening their linguistic abilities. She also focuses on developing key life skills, Principle 10, like resilience, teamwork, and emotional intelligence through peer led discussions and collaborative tasks, ensuring that students are well equipped for life beyond the classroom. By embodying the 22 principles of the NEP 2020 in her teaching, Miss Monica Chaudhary creates a classroom environment that is a hub of creativity, critical thinking, and holistic development. Her dedication to inclusive, student centered learning makes her a strong candidate for the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar Transformational Teachers Award.
And we can just go on and on about the exemplification of each of these 22 principles in action, which is quite a treasure trove for other teachers across the deck to really pick up Madam Monica Chaudhary's mind as to how she uses literature to really transform the entire learning experience per se. So very, I would say, enigmatic, so very beautiful. We would now request her. I would just to accept this token tribute from the forum as an Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar transformational teacher uh, for having tethered and transcended the 22 principles of new education policy 2020. I would invite Madam Monica Chaudhary to accept and also address the forum.
Thank you so very much. And special thanks to my director, Mrs. Ruti Malhotra. She's been kind and gracious enough to give such an elaborate write up. And yeah, I mean, I have always believed. So my mother was a teacher, and I've always seen her, being so honest and authentic with her work, and that is something that I have imbibed from her. And uh, children are, of course, at the heart of my teaching. And yes, I mean, I leave all the baggages outside the classroom before I enter and start interacting with the children. So it's always, I mean, all of us, we do have our difficult days, but the moment I see my students there, I think everything is gone. It just vanishes, and it's truly a delight. It's a privilege that we have as educators to shape and change so many minds.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for this honor. It is indeed, I'm really, really grateful to this platform.
And at a time when GPUs, hundreds and thousands and lakhs of GPUs are being put up to create artificial intelligence, they are to train the large language models. It's perhaps our language faculty like Madam Monica Chaudhary who do it effortlessly in their classrooms by the power of literature, the natural language programming, we can say so. Because language is really the OS of the human mind, and that is what computers are now trying to mimic. And with this passion and commitment, the classrooms are being transformed upon. This is truly stellar, and we can really see that glowing face at such a late hour in the night, and such a passion. And literature has to be really somewhere catapulted again as a foundational block of
Absolutely.
all learning. And when today's a lot of debate is happening, a lot of on the negative side of it, how AI will take it over the human intelligence. We at Rethink India say that go back to the fundamentals, go back to the basics. I think from that, humans would keep mastering the machines rather the other way around. So I think we have reached that inflection point where the choice is again with us and with the transformational teachers like Monica ma'am. The future is bright enough that humans would continue their supremacy over the machines per se and make the best use of it. Thank you so much, ma'am,
Thank
and
you.
for really giving us an opportunity to peep deeper as to what these 22 principles actually entail. See, lot many policy papers come at the national forum done by a small body of experts. They write reams of documentation, but making that policy work at the last mile of it all, I think that's where the catch lies in. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
reverberating this forum. Now we would also now like to felicitate yet another transformational teacher, Madam Karuna Jha. And I would request Dr. Surbi, meanwhile, if you can ping Madam Anita Das Gupta, if she can join us quickly so that we can also have her. She is having some technical problem, but
Yeah,
if
she's logged in and then again had to log out. I'll just ping
yeah,
Matt.
yeah, please, please, please do so. Let me just read out Madam's lovely nomination note again, Madam Karuna Jha. Yes. So, how Madam Karuna Jha is translating, she has tethered and transcended the 22 NEP principles in her individual educational paradigm, which actually matters. So, as an educator deeply committed to the holistic development of students, Madam Jha has strived to integrate the key principles of NEP in her teaching and school management practices. Uh, so, NEP, as it emphasizes a progressive, inclusive, and student centric approach to education, Madam Jha has incorporated these aspects in various dimensions of her professional life. So, this is how she has detailed it upon. So, Madam Jha believes that every child is unique and has a distinctive learning style. And at the beginning of the year, she does a SWOT analysis with the aim to identify each student's strengths, weaknesses, and further tailor her lesson plans to acknowledge their diverse needs and talents. And on principle two, a strong foundation paves the way for academic success ahead. And with this thought, as an early years educator, in the beginning of her academic career, Madam Jha strives to bring in innovative pedagogies like play based learning, role plays, rhythm and movement, and storytelling to her curious learners. And she has regularly monitored and assessed her students through anecdotal records, daily observations, and formative assessments to ensure that they meet the learning standards of grade 3. So, not just a very mundane regulatory regime, but a very creative and a curiosity enriching way. Madam is furthering. So, flexibility in learning pathways, Madam Jha has encouraged her students to take charge of their own learning trajectories. Now, this is very, very, very important that she is inculcating the self learning paradigm, which remains a lifelong paradigm for all. And curating student learning journeys is an important step taken by her in this direction. So making learners self learners, I think it's one of the greatest contribution which a educator can really instill upon, and Madam Jha has been up to it. And the SLJ folders help students identify and appreciate their progress and talents, fostering a growth mindset in the students. A growth mindset is taught at the Niti Ayog level when mentors of change. Uh, I happen to be one of the mentors of change for one of the schools. So they have a whole deck of learning, and there they say that even if you're an advanced learner, you have to have a growth mindset in place. You have to be having an open ear to a new learning, new paradigm. And when Ma'am Jha is instilling it right at the early childhood level, I think this is mind boggling. And on the frontier of no hard separation between the arts and sciences and other streams. Uh, so the Humanities Fest, she explains it through a lot of examples like the Humanities Fest, Bharat Ek Khoj, showcased how we can integrate history, literature, and arts into a cohesive learning experience. So it's not just a textbook rumbling all through. So this multidisciplinary approach, right from foundational years, it encourages students to explore various fields without feeling constrained by subject boundaries. And this experiential aspect, it helps the students to make a sense. Oh, all learning, it's not siloed, it's all an integrated flow. And what a way to impress upon the young learners. On the fronts of multidisciplinarity and holistic education, Madam Jha says that social sciences, arts, and physical educations in grade 8, the students read Harry Potter and dressed up as one of the characters from the book, and dressed up along with their props, enacted a small scene from the book, linking linguistic learning with arts, storytelling, and drama, providing a more engaging and comprehensive understanding of language. Madam, I can say so that we research a lot on the employability paradigm in this new AI age. Perhaps these very domains have already made your students employable in that very sense of the term, despite whatever higher education dimension they go to it, because these are the skills which are called as the 21st century ones, and they're looked by employers across. And the regular interdisciplinary projects, they foster collaboration and holistic development and conceptual learning. When this is all out there, we are so very okay that uh, uh, as headmistress, she ensures that lesson plans designed by her staff reflect the opportunities for students to implement their learning. Like, wow, creating a meal plan that demonstrates their understanding of the food groups in science. So, through these methods, students are encouraged to apply their knowledge in real world scenarios. And this is not so very out of the world. This is just a near to far paradigm. Whatever the learning experiences are out here, Madam has so very beautifully, immaculately integrated it into the formal learning ecosystem. On the creative and critical thinking part, under her leadership, uh, they have MRIS has developed curriculum and pedagogy to navigate the changing educational landscape, and learning through play, teaching learning approach in early years of promoting a skill based curriculum, media shala and maker shala. Wow, in middle years, and developing creativity and critical thinking is fundamental to her teaching and leadership approach. So we have got a very eminent transformational teacher who comes as an academic, as an administrator, both. So both things we can see through in her, uh, I would say. So the selection of the students council is done through campaigning, following by the students voting for the head girl and head boy. So school initiatives like cleanliness drives and celebrating cultural diversity have helped instill these values values in the students, and dedicated life skill lessons, daily classroom routines and interactions. So being as we saw through this elaborate nomination, that when you are practicing the values yourself, you don't need to preach them. The kids really pick up from your I would say your demeanor itself. So because if you are practicing these values, kids pick up involuntarily. There is no two questions about it. And Madam Jha strongly believes in promoting multilingualism. Just a moment.
At MRIS 46 Gurugram, where students from diverse linguistic backgrounds come together, Madam ensures the promotion of Hindi, English, and regional languages in our curriculum.
So
Language is celebrated.
cosmopolitanism through language is promoted out here. This is so very lovely. And we would really love to invite Madam Jha on the 21st UN Mother Language Day also to speak a bit on this very experimentation on this count. And life skills is one of the 7 learning areas at MRS, and group activities at all grade levels like project based learning help students collaborate. Role play sessions promote effective communications. Clubs like debate club, personality development club, rescue rangers, and first aid help students collaborate, promote efficient communication and creative thinking. And during the various orientation programs for parents, Madam Jha has demonstrated how these life skills are critical to students' holistic development. So uh, she has talked a lot about. I will just skip a bit. Ma'am has introduced tools like Kahoot and quizzes to make learning more interactive and accessible for students with special needs. And teachers are trained and well equipped to use AI to support their lesson delivery with learning resources in the classroom. And AI helps her largely in analysis of assessment. So this is the lovely deployment that using AI for assessment and using the vacant time for other creative pursuits, and respect for diversity and local context. Ma'am talks about Lok Rang by grade 3 and Dharohar by grade 5. And she has designed herself activities that reflected local history and culture, encouraging students to take pride in their roots while appreciating global perspective. The local age, we say so. Equity and inclusion, synergy in curriculum across levels. I think it's each one of the areas. It is really very I would say inspiring learning. And I would invite, because this is the Saraswati Puja Divas, and I've been told by Dr. Surbi to just quickly move on. So we can just so Karuna Jha ma'am, I would really request you to accept this token tribute and also address the forum.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
And yeah, good evening. What a pleasure to be here today, on a Sunday evening, which coincides with Basant Panchami. And for me, as an educator who've spent, my entire life to education, it is a great honor to be spoken about, and it feels such a privilege. And I feel that somewhere um, the all awardees who are present today, including the two of you, I think we may have done something good for the children, and in the process for our own country and for the society, that we all are here and we are talking about what a beautiful country that we live in, and who gives us the freedom, who gives us a platform and an opportunity, um, a, a framework through the NAP principles to live our passion, to give life to our passion. It is lovely to be here today, and I must thank Rethink India for creating such awards, because no matter how much we are doing at our levels, it gave me an opportunity to sit down and pen down all the work that is being done, such wonderful that work that is being done at MRIS 46 Gurugram. My thanks to Dhriti Malhotra ma'am, who has given us the freedom, who has given us that independence that we through NAP principles we are able to touch upon the lives, and in return to their families, to be confident, happy learners, independent learners. And as we all know that life skills are so important, and the more complicated things are, the more AI is trickling into our education system. Life skills need to be there to give our students a balance, I guess. So in that balance, I think where AI is important, technology is important. I've mentioned Maker Shala, Media Shala, and now Fashion Shala will be introducing shortly, is an integral part of our curriculum. However, life skills, simple things that were being read, measurable things, workable things, which become an everyday routine for the teachers, for the school, for the children. I think as a whole we'll be able to create a community which are local, which are happy, confident, emotionally stable, mentally fit students, because I think that is extremely important in today's society. And the when such children go out in the society and in the world, I think each one of them is going to represent what Manav Rachna stands for, what the national education policy stands for. So I guess for all of us present over here, it is such a passionate subject that we can go on forever. But truly, from the deepest of my heart, I thank each one of you to have given me this opportunity, and this acknowledgement of the hard work that the educators of India, of our country, are doing for the students. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. And you have really talked about that twin critical aspects of emotionally stable and
Right.
mentally fit kids. I think that's what a transformational teacher is all about, the twin aspects of any educational system. Apart from the loads of skills, whatever are being put across,
Right.
uh, we have been blessed by Madam Anita Dasgupta from her Saraswati Puja celebration. So I would perhaps take a recuse from reading out a similar such illustrious work. What Madam Anita Dasgupta is doing, I would request her to accept this to contribute if she can come on the camera and just speak. No matter wherever she is, she can just switch on the camera. That would be a ceremonial benediction to this forum, because it is the spirit of our teachers who are the real spirit of Mata Saraswati herself, who are really benedicting that Vidya to the learners in the classrooms, that forums like these have importance and prominence. If Madam Anita Dasgupta just come on, we would be really blessed.
Uh, Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be there. And I think the very fact that I have actually managed to get into the security room of the guard to just get a little sane environment to speak to you all. And the fact that in public places you have families and children coming up and wishing you and greeting you, I think that's the greatest benediction. And I think that's the greatest reward as educators we get, where we are able to touch and impact lives of children and maybe somewhere leave a mark with also families. So it's a wonderful journey that we have as educators, where the human connect is irreplaceable, and the NEP has kind of given us thoughts to reflect on, that yes, we've been doing this, and ratifies on the journey that we have been. We are grateful to our organization and our mentors who've kept us progressive, and to your platform. I think Dr. Surbi and Sir, we are really indebted that you hail us as transformational leaders, but we are glad to be making some impact in our own limited space hoping it cascades down to generations to come.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Thanks.
you have said in your few words the sense of education, which is why we are imparting education. It is not just to create skilled, competent individuals, but truly meaningful human beings. Who are empathetic, who are sensitive, who can contribute and give back to society what all they have taken.
I would now like to request we have the great good benediction of having our co-chairperson, Professor Usha Vash, who has been an educator throughout, serving the Delhi University in the Department of Commerce at Gargi College, to just give her blessings. She's recovering from a major ailment, but she just chose कि no, today is a Vasant Panchami celebration. It's the cheering of the teachers, and she has fought all through her 4 decades of university teaching the cause of the teachers. And so, Professor Usha Vash, ma'am, if she can speak for 2 minutes, we would be really so very blessed. This forum would have her benediction. Yeah. If you can unmute, yeah. Yeah. Just shortly, we will not strain you much, ma'am. Yeah.
No, no. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure and a blessing of Ma Saraswati. You know, I always feel that whatever I am today is due to the punya which I have earned because of the blessing of three people. One, the goddess Saraswati. Second, my parents. And the third, my teachers. Whatever I am today is because of them. And I want to share one thing, Surbhiji and Raghavji, that I have been, yes, it is true. When I got consciousness of being a lively person, I started telling I want to be a teacher. I started telling only that, and I retired as a teacher. What more boon a God can give to a human being? And I realize now the importance of a teacher after having retired. Now I realize what a teacher can do. What India has earned its position today in the world, that we are talking about the very high economic growth, and India is counted amongst very few high nations, is all due to the contribution which immense number of teachers have made to educate this immense democratic, highly populated country. It's not easy to teach India. It's an uphill task. And all the more when AI is coming in, all the more when there are new challenges, it is a challenging task. But I'm very happy and proud to share that India is giving assurances to the whole world that we are doing the job. And the teaching community is doing their best. I've heard right now the presentations of such beautifully, such good teachers that my head only bows down in front of every teacher. I know, having heard Dr. Shama Chuna, who was a Padam Shri of Delhi Public School, I saw her touching the feet even of her students. This is great thing. A teacher has to be holistic in her thinking. Only then she can teach the students in a holistic manner. So
I
I
think ma'am
will like to finish off
has
here.
given us the. Thank you so much, ma'am. We will not strain you
Yeah.
any further
Yeah.
for your health. Ma'am has given that she became a teacher out of choice rather
Yes.
than any other consideration. I think that is what would be really transforming the nation per se. And when a nation aspires to call itself as a Vishwa Guru, the gurus of that nation have to really take on prominence in every sphere of that life. And that's where we would really become a Bhavya and a Divya Bharat, a Vikasit Bharat, Vikas of the Manav
Agreed.
Chetana, as we call it. Dr.
Agreed.
Formal word of thanks, and we will wrap up because everyone is in so much of a.
Challenges are many.
Dr. Sabir.
So, with these, divine blessings and with the ceremonial, I take this opportunity to thank our distinguished faculty members and who are truly the embodiments of Ma Saraswati in their such elaborate presentations which we have just seen and read through, that what their teaching paradigms, what we are talking at the NEP 2020, the principles, the work, the hard work, the midnight oil burning, when they're reading through and preparing notes, and how they're delivering in the schools at their karm kshetra, kurukshetra, we can see that it's all happening. So I'm sure that our NEP drafting committees would be really elated to hear once they know that what they have designed is being delivered and deliberated upon further for how to make the last mile even get implemented. So with these words, many greetings to one and all on Vasant Panchami, and thank you for gracing this occasion. From all of us at Rethink India, namaskar.